guys, so it's been a while. I just figured I would give you guys an update on what is going on out here. I feel like everything has changed. I mean, we've added more animals. The garden is doing really well, so let's go check it out. Okay, to start off, this is where we had planted the onions and the potatoes and the lettuce over there. There are still a few onions that are doing well, but for the most part, they did not do well. And over here, we had the two lines of potatoes. I saw a few sprouts, but literally nothing happened. So we scratched that. I ended up putting in some little mini sweet peppers. You can see those. I actually got these from the peppers we got from Aldi. I don't know if they'll do well, but we're just trying it. We have a few onions here still, and then right here we've got the Chocolate Beauty sweet peppers. There's two of those that I got from Baker Creek. I started a bunch, but not many did well. My lettuce here is bolting. I planted one extra okra there. We've got our San Marzano tomatoes. Okra. I ended up doing, so we've got 6 of just the Clemson spineless, and then one extra one right there. And then I've got 5, maybe only 4 like the red maroon ones. One of them's really small still, it's not doing too well. Then we've got, let me get out of the way, there we go. Then we've got some little cherry tomatoes. This one I had planted really early on, so it's doing really good. It's huge. We've got a few tomatoes on there. A few more down there. On this side of the trellis, we've got our cucumbers. There's some Armenian long and muncher down there. I had bought a pack of starts, okra starts, that had like 5 or 6 plants in each of them, and so I just kind of spread them out. So I've got one there, I put another one over there, and then the one that's over here where the potatoes were, as well as replaced a few that did not do too well over here. I also put a zucchini right there just because it was kind of an awkward space, and I didn't want to waste it, so we will eat zucchini like crazy. It will not be a problem. So alright, and then we've got cucamelons here. I transplanted 4, 3 seem to be doing well, and then I direct sowed a few as well, and I've seen a few sprouts coming up. Oh yeah, there's one there. I don't know if there are any more. Oh, that might be one. Oh, and there's another one. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. So yeah, there's the cucamelons. Back over here in the front garden, right next to where the potatoes and onions are, we still have the broccoli. That is coming out today. A lot of it, you can tell, has gone too far. I think it's still edible, just not pretty. But I will be taking all of it out today. My plan is to blanch and freeze them. Then I've got a couple of zucchinis there. I've got 3 pepper plants here. The 2 on the end are doing okay. The one in the middle, not so much. They got a really big beating at the beginning of the season, right after I planted them. We had that big hailstorm come through and destroyed a lot of things that we already had out here. Then I've got another zucchini plant here. I'm thinking I might do one more right here after I take these out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do over there yet. I did pick up a few like ornamental gourd, like decorative gourd seeds at the store the other day. So I might put that there. I don't know. We'll see. Take you guys this way. Our little herb bed is doing okay. I've had to resow a few different times, but I'll show you what is going on. That's doing well. I've got nasturtium. Those are doing great. It's the first time I've ever grown nasturtium, first time I've ever even had nasturtium, and I've always heard of like the peppery taste, and yeah, very much it tastes like a pepper, which is just crazy to me. Really cool though. They're super pretty. I picked up a rosemary start at Walmart, as well as a oregano, just because the ones that I had planted here, or the seeds that I planted here, were not coming up, and I figured might as well just kind of have something going here. We've got dill doing all right. I planted some more. I think that's what is going on right there. I need to come through and thin those. I did have some holy basil here. I'm not quite sure what happened to it. I have come through and resowed some seeds in these spots that did not do too well. I did have borage, then something came through and munched on it, so I resowed there. Thyme, nothing there yet. I transplanted some echinacea right here. A lot of it's dried up. I see a couple little sprouts kind of coming through, so we might be doing okay. Here's another holy basil. I think we're doing okay here. Stevia, I don't know about this. I don't know. There's this little bit here. I don't know if that's it. Stuff is tricky. I've tried it a couple different times and fail every time, but we'll see with that. Another little echinacea sprout there that I transplanted. That middle spot seems to be doing okay. So I had some calendula here. Came up, something munched it down. Same with this spot. Then I've got my chamomile. It's doing really good. And some sage. And then I had some lemon mint here, but it, I think, died off. I guess I can introduce you to our new little guy. Hi! This is Frank. He is actually deaf, I'm pretty sure. So that's interesting. Also looks like the kid's put on his little bandana that does not fit. Hi, buddy! Hi! He's sweet. Also very much puppy. I came out this morning and saw some of my tomatoes here were dug up, and I'm pretty sure. So anyways, yep, there is the herb bed. And on this side of the trellis, so we have the cucamelons here, and then on this side I went ahead and some cucumbers. Here we've got a little buttercup squash, and another one there, and another okra. And over here we have our tomatoes in. I have a few black creme, I believe, from my friend. And then I've got some pink Ponderosa, which they kind of freaked me out because I didn't understand why their leaves looked so different. Then I read that they have a potato leaf shape. I don't know if you can see that. It's so strange because this is what most tomatoes tend to look like. A little like spiky looking leaves, but these are more rounded. I thought I was doing something wrong, like I wasn't giving them enough sun or something, but nope. Now you can see these are not doing too well. This is one of the ones that I had to fix. Ooh, It's like snapped right there. I might need to give it some support. Yep. And that one over there, not doing too good. That was another one that was pulled up. I'm pretty sure it was this guy. Alright, and then I've got a beefsteak that I got at a little farmer's market stand here in town. And then a beefsteak, I think from Lowe's or something like that. And I think a cherry there. I had an extra one and I just didn't want to waste it, so I stuck it there. I hope you can hear those crazies out there. Hey, they're singing and having fun and not screaming at each other. I hope you guys don't mind that being in the background of this video. Oh, I forgot to mention, over here is another little cherry tomato. I'll just kind of trellis it up on the side here. But yeah, I didn't want to waste the tomato plants that I had. Since I've got the space, I just found a spot for it and we'll see. Yeah, you can see right here, something was digging. Was it you, Frank? Was it you? Alright, so over here we've got the death pepper cage. So David, my husband, wanted to grow a ghost pepper and a Carolina Reaper, and I said, heck no, unless you want to put some sort of a barrier. So this is what he came up with, which will be great because then I could even use this during like cooler months, put a tarp over it, like a clear plastic sheeting tarp, and have like a little greenhouse. So we'll get use out of that. We got some jalapenos and then some serrano. And then a couple of these are also from my friend. I need to ask her what they were. I don't remember, or even if she knew. I think some of the things she wasn't sure. But surprise peppers. Alright, and over here, this is a little path that we haven't finished. But over on this side, I had originally planted corn all down here. I had 2 rows. But all down there was not growing anything. So I condensed it down to here. There were a few that didn't grow. You can see the taller ones here. And then added in 2 more rows between them. So we've got sweet corn, ornamental corn, and blue popcorn. They're all kind of just mixed in there. See, the tall ones are the blue popping corn. I'm really hoping we get some out of that. I think that would be so fun. And over here, I didn't want to waste this space. The original plan was to put all of the watermelons and cantaloupe and stuff out here. But I had all this space and I figured might as well use it, and we did something else over. We were going to do the watermelons. So we've got some spaghetti squash, but then we've got watermelons, a few that I grew from seed, a few starts that I grabbed, some cantaloupe. They're all kind of just mixed in here. Alright, and then back over on this side, this is the kids' garden. Honestly, not doing too good. It got really grown up with clover and other weeds, and a lot of these flowers you see here were already here. We just kind of kept them. The girls really loved them, and I love them. I love this Hands lace. I thought it was really pretty, and so we've kept those little spots. We do have 1 tomato down here that we're gonna need to get a little trellis for. And then I've got a small buttercup squash over here that I accidentally hit with the lawnmower. So I don't know if that is going to survive. There's still a few leaves on it. But there's that. Then we've got sunflower, some fleabane. The fleabane over there. So I think we need to actually come through and mulch this like we did over there. I think that'll help a lot with keeping the weeds down, and then it'll be ready to go for next year for the kids. Strawberries, growing really big. They've stopped producing, which is fine. I kind of didn't expect any berries. We got a handful this year, which was really exciting. I'll let them grow, and then hopefully next year we'll get a bunch more. Alright, and so here's our little pumpkin patch. We've got a few little pumpkins popping up here and there. It's doing pretty good. I mean, this area, when it rains, it becomes a swamp, and so I've kind of gone up and down in my hopes of it. Right now pretty high, but we've got a lot of rain coming, so I don't know. I'm not sure how that's gonna go. Our plan is to kind of build this up a little bit and do full rows instead of little like plops of the mulch, because it is a pain to take care of the grass and weeds between, which is why this little area looks the way it does. But hey, it's growing stuff. I'm not stressing too much about detail. Alright, we'll come back this way. So there's the kids' garden. And these are the Ruth's Stout potato beds. So these are the original garden beds we used at the old house, which is just crazy how we went from growing in this space to all of this. Oh my gosh, it just makes my heart so happy. Oh, God is good. So what we ended up doing here, I can't tell, is that? Oh, that's just a weed. So I threw down a bunch of potatoes that were sprouting, then a huge layer of hay, and we've just watered it. And I've kind of picked it up a little bit. Let me see if I can show you guys. You can see them like getting real, you can see them sprouting really well. Let me see if I can find, okay, yeah, you can see potato doing really, really good. There we go. So once that green pokes up out of the hay, oh, is there some here? Oh, there is. So yeah, once this gets to be a little bit higher, we'll just cover it with more hay. So from what I can tell, it's very similar to like when you grow in the dirt and you mound it with the dirt, except you do hay. So yeah, we'll see. Mostly an experiment. Hopefully we'll get some good stuff from it. Alright, over here. So this is mostly neglect. As you can see, I mean, this is, I don't remember even how many square feet this is, but it's huge, especially from going from this to all of this. It's been an adjustment and we're trying to figure things out, but I came through and I actually mowed all of this because it was this. I left a few things, like there's some sunflowers, some more fleabane, there's some of the Queen Anne's lace popping up. So I left a few of those little sprouts coming up and just mowed around everything else. But then this section, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just let this be tall and let this kind of be somewhat of a pollinator spot for all the little pollinators to come and, you know, do their thing, but then also be close to the garden. I think what I would like to do maybe next year is intentionally plant some wildflowers, like spread some good pollinator mix throughout here to add in some more. I mean, there's sunflowers, there's the fleabane, there's dandelions, but I would love to add more. Back here, so a lot of these, there's a ton of sunflowers like all over the property. They have just, I guess, reseeded from past years with the past owners. But we planted a row here of 3 different varieties of sunflowers. Okay, so here's that open space and our new bench. We found an old church pew here. Oh, it's so great. And so this little bench here was at our old house. I got this from my grandma's property. It was just broken, or at least like halfway broken in their old shed, like in the back of their property. And so we asked if we could have it, and they didn't mind, so we have been using that. We used it at the old house. Now we've got it here. I'm using it as kind of like a footrest table kind of thing. Over here we've got a loofah gourd plant growing up. This one, they were planted at the same time, started at the same time, but this one is just kind of taking its time. Alright, and then this is our squash and zucchini spot. This is the yellow squash, these 3, and this one. There was one here, but it broke off pretty early on. We've got a tiny little sprout there, and then our zucchini is here on this side. Right, and then over here we've got our beans, and it's very weedy, but hey, doing what I can. So from my understanding, all of these are bush beans, so I won't need any trellising or poles or anything like that. I've got pinto beans, black beans, contender beans, so it's just like a green bean. Then I've got a dwarf Taylor and jade bush bean over there. And this is quite the experiment because I've not done beans before, so we'll see how that goes. One more thing right here, so the cherry tomatoes and the okra. I have this little section of ground cherries. So I planted a ground cherry here, and I planted another one there, and the hail came through, and you can see a lot of the branches down here are real sad. Has definitely come back decently, but you can still tell the damage that was done. This one right here was actually a piece from the other plant that had gotten topped by the hail. I grabbed that after it all happened and stuck it in some dirt and watered it, and it ended up re-rooting really well, and so I've stuck that back in the ground. It's doing good. And then this one and that one is just like a regular ground cherry. I started from seed inside. Then I had one more here. I thought it had died off, but I don't know. Seems to be doing good. It was bigger than this, kind of died off. You can see some of the old leaves here, and but it seems to still be doing okay.